bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, yai da 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 bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom to all of you who joined us on this Friday evening for a meditative Kaya Shabbat. Casual, reflective, peaceful, calm. Help us, as we always do, create our community. Even though we may not be physically together, we truly are creating community in the midst of these times of being on screen, remote, by saying Shabbat Shalom to one another. So do that in the chat, whether on Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel. Greet one another, connect with one another, say where you're watching from, whether it's in town, out of town, and let us know you're with us. It's always beautiful to see those messages, to see people getting reacquainted with each other, and to feel the community coming to life. You know, we prepare for this, we watch a screen, and in a sense, you have no idea what to expect. And we're able to reflect as we see messages come to us, to each other, and to see that sense of peoplehood, of community, of what Shabbat is to be. You know, it's this one moment in time that we're given as a gift to really be a people and to recognize no matter where you might be in the world, as a Jew, it's Shabbat. It's our time. It's our moment to reflect. It's our moment to gain that perspective. So let's think about that as I turn to Cantor, and there's only a giraffe there. Let's think about that and reflect for a moment on what that means to us. That teaching that reminds us that Shabbat is really ours, our gift, our time for ourselves and for our community.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'torotam brit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz ubayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat.
words remind us of a teaching more than the people of Israel have kept this day of Shabbat. Shabbat has kept us as a people. It's given us that perspective. And I think one of the most important things the rabbis remind us of is that Shabbat is our time to be truly authentic, to let down our guard, to allow ourselves to have a moment to recognize who we truly are and to see the blessing within that authenticity. There was once a king who was known to have the most beautiful garden and trees behind his home. But one day he recognized that that garden was beginning to wither. The trees were beginning to fade and die, leaves were falling off. And he went back and he greeted them and he looked at the big oak tree and he said, "Oak tree, you're magnificent and big. Why are you withering? We've been giving you all the food, all the water, you've had all the sunshine. Why are you dying?" And the oak tree said, "I'm not as tall as the pine. The pine is much bigger than me. So what's the point?" The king went to the pine tree that was withering as well. I said to the pine tree, "What's happening? Why are you withering? You've gotten the food, the water, the sunshine. What's happening?" And the pine tree said, "I don't have any like good fruit like the grapevines have. They're so bountiful and plentiful and beautiful and special. I wish I had that. And so why go on?" But then he looked over and the grapes too are withering. He went to the grapes and asked them, why are you withering? What's happening? And the grapes said, "Well, I'm not as pretty as the flowers. Look how magnificent they are." But he looked at the flowers, their petals are falling. And the flowers said, "Well, I'm not as green as those plants." These plants were little plants, sitting in the ground, but vibrant and full of life. The king asked those plants, "Well, why are you so alive?" And they said, "Look, this is how God made me. This is who we are. Doesn't matter how tall or what fruit we do. This is what we're supposed to do." Looking at our authentic self is part of what Shabbat is. This is who we are. You know, the freckles, the hair, the height, whatever it is, it's who we are, and that's our blessing. And Shabbat's a moment to pause and see it as such, to recognize that is our gift. That's a blessing that each of us has. To look at this journey we're on in life, but to make Shabbat a little bit like a quest, that there is an actual destination that you can get to recognize the blessing that you do have within, despite the challenges and the frustrations, to see the beauty that's there. It's why we recognize more than this day has made, we a people made it Shabbat. Shabbat has made us a people.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
And so with that perspective of that authenticity that we can find within, we join in our formal prayers. Again, being a meditation Shabbat, we don't call out page numbers for the prayer book. You're welcome to find the prayer book, of course, online on the resource page of our website. You can get to it through the YouTube site as well. Or you can just sing along or hum along, or just close your eyes and meditate as Cantor leads us in our prayers. If you'd like to rise, you may, as we join together in the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam leolam. this one. Baruch Shem Kavod, Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, וייתן קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Next prayer that we join together into the words of the Hashkivenu. And the Hashkivenu is a prayer that was written a long time ago. Petition the rabbis thought about what our world was like, what our experience was like, and thought, what are the things that we need as we go to bed at night? They realized that there are times when we're getting ready for bed where we might be laying in our bed. And it's that chance that we have to really catch up with our thoughts, even our anxiety, our concerns, the challenges in the world that are around us. And so they wrote this prayer, hoping that God would watch over us. It was a prayer asking that God protect us and relieve us from those challenges. Incredible words that they have within it. One line of it says, be a shield around us. Keep enemies, disease, violence, homelessness, and hunger far away from us and far away from those we love. And those words couldn't ring any truer than today. That idea of keeping disease away from us, keeping hunger away from our homes of our loved ones, our community, our fellow citizens. So I invite you to take a moment just to close your eyes, to breathe in, slowly inhaling through your nose, and to breathe out, exhaling through your mouth. Continue to focus on your breathing, that breath in which we breathe in our soul, those qualities that make us unique, those gifts from God. And as we breathe out, that we share that gift with our world. Breathe in, slowly inhaling through your nose, and breathe out, exhaling through your mouth. Picture in your mind what it means when we ask God to be that shield for us. A shield against enemies, disease, a shield against violence, a shield against homelessness and hunger. What does that shield look like to you? Create a picture in your mind. What is it that protects you from all those things? It keeps you safe. That makes you feel protected. Be a shield around us, God. That shield, that's our petition. It's what we ask for tonight as we go to bed. As we fall asleep, we pray that God watches over us, that God truly serves as that shield around us, protecting us, our loved ones, protecting our world, hoping that tomorrow morning we can wake up to life renewed, refreshed, and ready to celebrate our lives. So we join together in the words of the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us with wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomereinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu malkeinu
And we continue with a moment for our own private meditations, an opportunity for us to have our own private conversation with God and with ourselves as we prepare for the Amidah. Please pray silently.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering the song in the silence of the night. And eternity utters a day, and eternity utters a day. has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind, joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering the song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day, and eternity utters a day. Svatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei ha'akol, Ve'zocher chasdei avot ve'imahot, U'mevii geula livnei b'neihem, Lema'an shemo v'yahava, Melech u'zer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagal Hashem. Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofei cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mkayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamo chabal gevurot, U'midom elach, Melech memit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman natan ha'chayot ha'kol. Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh ha'kol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
In the midst of our prayers, our thoughts turn to those in need of healing and strength. Recognizing that prayer in its own articulation is a source of hope. Not only is it reaching out to that which is beyond ourselves, that we don't necessarily understand, recognizing we can't control everything, but that we want to have hope in the midst of the unknown, but also in connecting us as community, letting us know who may be sick, who needs a phone call, who can we connect with, who can we be caring about, who can we be praying for and thinking about. And in that spirit, we join in our prayers of Mishaberach, Abatenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Ve'imutenu Srav Kolei Rachel, Hu Yivarech et holy, merciful God, who's blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel. Send your blessings to our loved ones who are stricken with illness and anxiety, especially as friends and family we think of at this time, Andrea Blake and Eugene Blakeman, Larry Burke, Grace Geraldine Carafelli, Karen Kasman, Ezra Chaim Ben Devorah, Gary Fishman, Adele Giba Band, Kathy Gilman, Paul Goldberg, Barbara Goldman, Sylvia Goldman, Sandy Gorosh, Batia Bapesha Panina, Susan Greenberg, Charles Gross, Sherry Gutter, Hank Heiser, Stuart Hike, Sarah Jacobson, Celia Katz, Bruce Kay, Serafina Coffrin, Alyssa Coltono, Isabel Lazar, Marta Lazar, Henry Leopold, Francisco Leyva, Angela Liberati, Aviva Bat Yosef Halevi Miriam, Zoe Marcus, Beth Margolin, Daryl Marks, Joyce Maza, Perry Moss, Lori Moss, Scott Miles, Kate Negron, Rabbi Robert Nosenchuk, Marjorie Penzine, Melanie Pohl, Barbie Ryder, Jody Richmond, Alan Rosen, Mona Rosenbaum, the St. Amman family, Amy Selmanoff, Diane Silverstein, Suzanne Zalesnik Smith, Chaim Shmuel Ben Noach, Kocha Ben Noach, Bill Vigelius, Helene Wolf, as well as all those battling the coronavirus, both at home and in the hospital, and 20,095 American troops have been injured in Iraq and Afghanistan, the surrounding areas to date, and all the names in our hearts. Baruch Atah Narafal Cholim. Blessed are you, God, who gives strength to those in need.
May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
In addition to our prayers for healing, we ask that God's partners in healing and those whose work allows our needs for survival to be met, may they also be blessed. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors. Bless all those who put themselves at risk to care for the sick, physicians and nurses and orderlies, technicians and home health aides, EMTs and pharmacists, hospital social workers, respiratory therapists, and mental health professionals. And bless those who continue to go above and beyond, those working daily in our grocery stores, those who drive medical supplies to our homes, those delivering necessities to our families, cooking meals for so many, everyone who puts the needs of others above their own, navigating the unfolding dangers of the world each day, tending to those they have sworn to help. Bless them in their coming home and bless them in their going out. Ease their fear, sustain them. Source of all breath, healer of all beings, protect them and restore their hope. Strengthen them that they may bring strength. Keep them in health, that they may bring health. Help them know again a time when they can create breath without fear. Bless the sacred work of their hands, and may this plague pass from among us speedily and in our days. As together we say, Amen. And continue with our words of adoration, with our concluding prayers, the words of the Elenu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
The mystics teach us that the Kaddish has different meanings every time it is recited. In their minds, it is a prayer that links earth to heaven and bridges the chasm between the living and the dead. The Kaddish is the assurance that the soul is enduring and the human spirit is indestructible. It is a prayer that permits a child to remember a parent and a parent to remember a child. It is an opportunity to bind wounds and bring generation closer to generation. In light and in darkness, it is all of these and more, for it is our people's memory of the best that life has to offer. And so on this Shabbat, we think of those friends and family who have been taken from us in these most recent days, whose Shiva, Shloshim, and Shana we mark. Celia Katz, Paul Rakosi, Marilyn Gvazda, Terry Dresco, Ruth Mary Achton, Dolores D'Ascenzo, Beverly Goldberg, Gloria Firestone, Irving Mendelson, Cheryl Lerman Strasburger, Patricia McCauley, Howard Leishman, Brad Beck, Martin Hollander, Charles Otto, Eli Roth, Jerry Aronoff, Shirley Robbins, Dolores Maringer, Robert Wallach, Fanny Zuckerman, Otto Maringer, and the 2,420 Americans in our armed forces lost in Afghanistan to date, as well as the 320,782 lives that have been lost to COVID in the United States. And to their names, we had those whose memory of passing, whose anniversary of passing, we lovingly commemorate. Ann Hirschman, Lila Aaron, B. Alpiner, Jenny Amberg, Susan Averbuck, Evelyn Barman, Dr. Harvey Allen Beaver, Faye Beckwith, Joseph Berman, Arnold Blau, Nathan Block, Megan Elizabeth Troughton Ballone, David Burke, Francis Groden Bussell, David Herbert Danowit, Gloria Davidson, Reva Davis, Philip Deitch, Rose Diamond, Raphael Dorfman, Philip Dobrinsky, Roger Daniel Etlinger, Sidney Fogel, Elizabeth Friedman, Rita Sue Fromm, Alan Gersh, Morris Gold, Gloria Gillespie, Moisha Goodman, Ruth Goodman, Leonard Gorman, Dr. Harold Gregg, Chana Gulko, Ann Hirschman, Gertrude Honigman, Donald Jacobs, Harry Jacobs, Louis Koretsky, Gerald Levine, Carol Litt, Eve Markovsky, David Edward Markson, Charles Ted Newell, Penny Nickel, David Olin, Faye Pomerantz, Henry Ravis, Rebecca Reisman, Donald Ripley, Joseph Romanek, Henry Rose, Max Rosen, Dr. Nathaniel Sandler, Herbert Schwartz, Gladys Schweed, Dorothy Shepard, Gene Silverman, Harvey Sisler, Robert Smith, Gene Sosson, Rose Stern, Isidore Trebuch, Jerry Varon, Charles Warshaw, Harry Weberman, Helen Weishaus, Blanche Wendell, Sylvia Wilbur, Stanford Wolf, Arthur Wool, Robert Winburn Wool, Louis Wool, David Yokelson, David Yovis, Abraham Zeidman, as well as all the names in our hearts, those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, that we join together as one family, as one community, in the immortal words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Chirtei V'amlich Malchutei, B'chayachon U'vyomachon, V'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala U'vizman Kariv V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivrach Le'olam Omei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitrumam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmei D'Kudusha B'richu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechemata, Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mramav, Huya Se Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all the bereaved among us here and everywhere, as together we say, Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mramav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mramav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.
Good Shabbos. Nice to have a calm, peaceful, quiet Shabbat. Hopefully you're all experiencing that as well. Tomorrow we have a bat mitzvah for Claire Nordan at 10:30. That will be broadcast as well. And then, of course, our minyan on Sunday at 10 a.m. and Monday morning musings at 9 a.m. I think the conversation might be occurring about Christmas. Just a little tickler there. Speaking of Christmas and New Year's next Friday and the Friday after are December 25th and January 1st. And our Kaya Shabbat, our meditation Shabbat services will be at 5 p.m. in concert with the fact that it is the shortest days of the year. So Shabbat comes really early. So we'll start it at 5. Sound good? For the right time?
Yeah.
I didn't just make that up. I didn't just make that up, did I? Okay, good. we will light our candles and say the Kiddush as we conclude our services. But before, any questions or for Tish that we might have coming from those who are watching, you can send them on YouTube, and Brian will pass them along to us as well. I see one question. Why is the mother's name used when praying for healing? Traditionally, in saying a Mishaberach, you say whoever it is, the son of or daughter of, and instead of saying the traditional way of doing it with a father's name, we use the mother's name in the Hebrew. So Mordechai, the son of, and my mom's name, as opposed to both my mom and dad. Why is that, Rabbi?
It's actually a tradition that comes from the book of Psalms. King David makes a petition to God, saying, God, I'm your servant. I'm your servant, the son of your maidservant. And he uses his mother's name. And therefore, that idea of when we have a petition to God about healing, or when we're in any sort of dire predicament, that we use our mother's names as part of that prayer as well. So it comes from Psalms. That's why. But you'll see different traditions in different places. So more traditional synagogues won't use the father's name. We'll use the mother's name as that name is recited. We tend to use both names, just like we do for an aliyah, where traditionally in an Orthodox synagogue, for example, only the father's name would be used.
I was taught also a midrash to add to the tradition that Rabbi shared, that is the idea that our mothers are the source of our lives, right? Born of our mother. And so our strength comes from them who gave us life, gave birth to us. And so we turn to that connection to sustain our lives as well. But just like Rabbi said, we use both mom and dad's name in names today in our naming of children. And so we use both those as well with Mishberach often. Though in times of need, people love tradition. So when, whether it's ritual around mourning, people always will turn to us and say, well, what does law say? What should we do? And people really respect tradition because it sustains them and gets us through more difficult times. So I think that's true with Mishaberach, when we're calling out for help too. I was asked a question about social action and our tradition at Temple Shir Shalom of always doing, whether it's in conjunction with Federation and Mitzvah Day on December 25th, or it's our own social action projects. Whether we've gone to COTS and served breakfast for decades, or back when our relationship was strong and the success of I Am a Brother's Keeper Ministries with Pastor Covington and his flock there, serving Christmas dinner there. Unfortunately, because of the COVID realities, we can't enter venues like that, places like that. Though, if you look online with Federation, Mitzvah Day, there are projects that you can pick up and do and deliver in advance of Christmas or even on that day as well. But the idea of gathering together isn't something that we're necessarily comfortable with or we should be doing, knowing that indoors it's not the way that's possible. But we like that you're asking and wanting to do work on Christmas. And if we hear of any things that are available, we promise we'll send emails out to the congregation for those opportunities too. I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying, Rabbi. Well, because our services are later tonight and we were together, many of us having dinners, and some have kindled their Shabbos candles. I think the request was made, we're just doing the Kiddush this evening. And so we raise our glass of wine together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Is there anything else? I feel like there's something else we have to share. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Sorry, I just had that feeling now. At that time of year. The question was asked, a number of us, 11 or 12 families in Temple Shir Shalom, were to be boarding a plane in a day and leaving for Israel. We would have had a blessing tonight. And obviously, this is not the time for travel. But God willing, that trip to Israel will occur next year, winter break, and we'll have opportunities for this in the future. And it's really a privilege we get to travel to Israel, and we'll create those opportunities. But right now, the best thing to be doing is to be staying home, to be staying safe, is to use opportunities like this to connect with each other. And hopefully our services help that reality for all of you too. We really appreciate these times together, because just as much as you may miss being together, we miss it as well. Our road rally last week was a incredible success for our community, with 60 families, cars driving around, competing in a very safe way. But what was nice, when we all came back together at Temple, made a giant circle with our cars, and Rabbi had constructed this giant Chanukiah for us to kindle the candles on the fourth night, and we were all there together, and it felt like this connection, this beautiful community. Or as we saw each other, one of the clues was to find where miracles happened from 1988 to 1995, and that was the beginning of Temple Shir Shalom, which is now a salon to get your hair cut in and colored and taken care of at 5642 Maple Road. But I got to give out jelly donuts for those who came by in a very safe way, and it was so good to see each other. And so creating opportunities like that is what we're trying to do more and more of. But of course, doing it in the most safe and secure ways for all of us, knowing the realities of what we're battling right now, but also with the hope, with the approval of the vaccinations, and the second one being approved today as well. And so, God willing, all of us will have that opportunity, so that we'll be much more safe in our world to be out and about and in each other's homes and in the sanctuary together as well. So with that in mind, let's ask God to bless us now.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless you. May God protect you.
יאיר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May God shine upon you, and may God shine through you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May God always be a part of who you are, of who we are as a community, as individuals, giving us all of our blessings, of course, most of all blessing us with shalom, with peace in our hearts, in our minds, and helping us bring more peace and safety into our world.
וישם לך שלום.